This is the 2016 Kawasaki Vulcan Voyager 1700 ABS. It was metallic phantom silver paint with metallic sparkle black. There's only one color combination available for the year. Most of the newer ones, they've only been doing one color per year. So, as the name implies, it's 1700cc V-twin engine, 6-speed overdrive transmission. It is a belt drive, 16-inch alloy wheels front and back, dual discs on the front, single on the rear, dual exhaust. One of them crosses over to the left side, allowing it to have a full saddlebag on both sides. A 5.3 gallon gas tank, full fairing, you do have the running lights in the front. I generally run the running lights all the time. There is a button down here that turns those on and off. You have glove boxes, one on the left and one on the right. You have full instrumentation. Gas gauge on the left, speedometer, and then on the right you have your tach and temperature gauge. And then in the center you have your odometer, tripometer, gas mileage, and clock. And it also has a gear indicator. Comes in handy knowing what gear you're in. Now the stock mirrors, which I still have on here, but I did put these little extensions on here to bring the mirrors up and out just a little bit. Makes a big difference on being able to see behind. The saddlebags are, of course, lockable. The hard bags, they fold out this way. They are 10 gallons each. The trunk is 13.2 gallons. Will hold two full-size helmets side by side. There's actually quite a bit of room in there. And of course the luggage and the ignition use the same key. And you also have LED lights for the rear tail light, and you also have LED lights across the trunk. This helps a lot with showing up at night and even during the day. Now I have added phone mount on here. This also has a USB charger port on it. I have that wired into the accessory connection, and then I also have a USB charging port in that left glove box. That way I can put my phone or some other device in there and charge it while we're driving. Most of the time, however, if it's not raining, I just put my phone on this one and charge it on there. There is also a 12-volt accessory connection here. I left that one alone because that comes in handy for a 12-volt accessory. The one 12-volt accessory, of course, that I use the most would be the tire pump. I can plug in the tire pump there and pump up the tires. Comes in real handy. It has electronic cruise control, not just it doesn't lock in the throttle. It's actually got an full electronic cruise control, just like a car, and it works very well. Your cruise control connections are here. Of course, you got your shut off, your emergency shut off, your flashers, starter. These are for adjusting the digital display. On the left side, you have your volume and tuning for the stereo, and then you have signal lights, horn, and your high and low beam. You've got, your throttle cables here, and that just loops down into the side case here, and it has a sensor, and it rotates the sensor, and then the computer uses that information to open it, and there's a motor on the carburetor to open and close. The computer controls all that. Of course, you got your front brakes. This does have ABS brakes, and it has the Kawasaki K-Act. And what the K-Act system does is, if you're above 12 miles per hour and you engage the rear brake pedal, the rear brakes will engage and the right front brakes will engage. If you engage the front brake lever, then the front brakes, of course, engage, but also the back brake will engage. So if you're under 12 miles per hour, they just work like normal. The front brake is the front brake and the rear brake is the rear brake. It is a water-cooled engine. That's one of the reasons I got this. I'm in a lot of stop-and-go traffic. It also has an air chamber that goes through, and it pulls, there's an extra fan in the back that actually pulls heat away from it. Now, the one thing that I have been having problems with is this exhaust shield gets extremely hot, and I melted some of my rain gear against there, so I have to take a look at getting in there and maybe put some insulation around that exhaust pipe. That seems to be, a common problem. One of the problems on this bike is that motor does generate a lot of heat, and so these do run hot, which is not necessarily a problem. The gear indicator comes in real handy. I know on the 900 I was always forgetting which gear I was in. I also like having the tack. On the 900 doesn't have a tack on it. The fuel gauge is reasonably accurate on this. When the light comes on, I've got about 1 gallon left. The stereo is not bad. I know a lot of people change out the stereo, or they at least put new speakers in there. But for me, my purposes, I don't think I will. I'm not really a big stereo person. I'll listen to music, but the quality and the volume, I'm not looking for a high volume anyway. Also, there's a lot of, okay, a lot of people do something with the exhaust, put the, what do you call it, Vance & Hines exhaust on there. And they also do the K&N air filters or something. I don't anticipate doing that. I don't want to make the exhaust any louder. I don't need any more power. It's got plenty of power. So, don't really anticipate doing any of that. The only thing I will do is the Ivan's reflash. And make the bike a little bit more smooth response. And run just a little bit smoother. The stereo works just fine. And of course around here, you know, we're reasonably close to radio stations, so we pick up all kinds of things. So I don't know how the stereo is out in some other areas, but the leg shields on here, they are actually separate from the fairing. Yeah, the leg shields here are actually separate from the fairing. They're a separate piece. And they also have louvers down there so that you can open up part of the leg shield there and let some air through, so that during the summer you can open those up and get some better airflow through there. Now, I haven't ridden this one in the summer yet. The 900, that engine got pretty hot during the summer, you know, the heat coming up there. And I expect this one's going to also. But I don't anticipate it being a huge problem. I don't really mind the heat. So I just don't think that's going to be a problem. They do have that extra fan in the back to help pull some of that heat away from the rider. So let's see, the only thing that I've done to this so far is phone mount, the mirror extenders, Bluetooth receiver, and the highway pegs. Now I will be changing out those highway pegs for something a little bit better that will come back. They're a little bit too far forward for me. I need some that have an extension that comes back a little bit. They're about 75 bucks. These were only about 25. So I gave them a try, but they were not quite, the position's not quite good enough. I don't like riding with highway pegs, but it does come in handy to be able to put your leg up there and stretch it out for a few minutes. When you're on a long trip, I found that if I can get my leg out, stretch it out a little bit, I don't have to pull off. I can keep on going. And you can get 2 to 2.5 hours riding time on a tank of gas, so that usually works out pretty good to stretch your legs at that time. Okay, what have we got going on here? Now I wouldn't mind owning a Harley, but I just don't want to pay the extra money for it. You know, even with doing some stuff to this, I still have to get the other highway pegs and a luggage rack. So you're looking at maybe 250 bucks there. And that's about it. The phone mount was 30 bucks on Amazon. Now the RAM mount is a little more expensive and they are a little heavier duty. This one, I forget the brand on it, but it's a different brand. Same kind of a setup as the RAM mount. And it works just fine. I mounted it there on the right side. So the when I got the phone in there, it does cover up the temperature gauge. The main reason I put it over there is because I didn't want to, on the left side it covers up the fuel gauge and I didn't really want to do that. And then I could mount it down there in the middle, but then it covers up the stereo. And I may go back to that. I don't know. I haven't decided. And the trouble with having it down in the middle there is it's a little bit far away to be able to push a button or something. So, at least on the right side I can push a button if I need to. It would be a little more convenient probably on the left side. We'll see. The other thing that you could get for it is a backrest. The seat on here is a two-piece seat, so you can put a backrest on there easy enough. There's a couple of different brands out there that make backrests for it. They're not very expensive. So far, the miles I've ridden and stuff, I just don't think I'm going to need a backrest. The seat already has a little bit of a lumbar support there, so far I just haven't. Okay. So far I'm not really seeing the need for putting a backrest on. And of course, if you're riding two up, you might want to think about how much space the passenger has and being able to get the passenger on and off there as well if you put a backrest on there. The one drawback on the trunk and backrest for the passenger backrest there is there's no adjustment on it. It's where it is. Now I know some people have put done some modification on it before to change that a little bit, so you could move it back a little bit. Yeah, it looks like the rain's going to be starting in. They're starting to sprinkle. Oh well. Okay, why does everybody stop? It's not a good sign. This is definitely not a good sign. Oh, nice signal light there, bud. What are you doing there, bud? Eh? Wake up! I keep forgetting where the horn's at. Don't really use it that much. Probably should use it more. It's not a real good spot for the horn. This is a great touring bike, which is what it's designed for. This is not designed to, you know, commute back and forth to work or just run around town, although you can do that. But this bike is made for the freeway, it's made for the open road. The 1700cc engine combined with the 6-speed overdrive transmission makes this a great bike for the freeway. You can cruise real comfortably without a lot of vibration at the higher speeds. Keeping up with traffic is not a problem. This has a very comfortable seat on it. The stock seat is probably one of the most comfortable seats I've run into. You also have true electronic cruise control. And it's not doesn't just lock in the grip. It's actually electronic cruise control just like you have on the car, and it works very well. It has self-canceling turn signals. The stock exhaust is not too loud. It doesn't really get in the way of it doesn't annoy you on long trips. One of the problems I found with Harley Davidson is that they're nice sounding exhausts, but on a long trip that can get kind of annoying. Another thing is you got full instrumentation. You got the fuel gauge, speedometer, you got the tach. Tach comes in real handy. I don't know why some of the cruisers don't come with tach. Also has a gear indicator on there, which comes in handy. With 6 gears, it's easy to lose track of which gear you're in. The engine is water cooled. It comes in handy for a lot of stop and go traffic that I run into, especially during the summer. The belt drive is nice and smooth. It's got lots of stopping power. It's got dual discs on the front, single disc on the back. There's ABS brakes and the Kawasaki Kayak system. The lifters in the engine are self-adjusting, so there's no adjustments to do there. And all total, with what few things I'm going to do to it, I'm going to come in at under $15,000 total. So it's a lot cheaper than the Harley or the Goldwing. Probably the biggest drawback on the bike has been the weight of it. It comes in at 895 pounds, so that's a lot of weight. It just takes some getting used to balancing on stop and go traffic and parking lots and stuff. You have to be a little more careful, how you park and where you park. But it just once you get used to it, not a problem. Gas mileage, you get anywhere from about 35 to 39 generally. I think I'm coming in about 37 right now, and I might get a little bit better once things get broken in more and get the ECU flashed. But it is a heavy bike, and if you want something to get good gas mileage, you're going to have to get something smaller. The throttle is a little bit jerky, especially at lower speeds, but the Ivan's ECU flash helps a lot with that. The other thing that the stereo system does not have a Bluetooth integration built into it. I added the Bluetooth receiver in the left glove box, so I can feed my phone through the stereo system. And there's also no factory luggage rack for it. But there are a couple of other. Cobra makes a nice chrome flat steel luggage rack for it. It's about $170, but it does weigh about 16 pounds, so it's a little heavy. Kawasaki makes a tubular luggage rack for it for about $180, $190. Only comes in at about 4 pounds. So I haven't decided for sure which I'm going to get. I'm probably going to get the Cobra because it is a nice looking rack. And the other thing is, of course, there's no reverse on it. And being such a heavy bike, electric reverse would come in real handy. It's one of the benefits of the Goldwing. It does have the electric reverse. The engine runs hot. You got the heat shield on that right rear exhaust. I end up burning my pants leg on there. So I've got a black spot on there now from my rain gear burning on there. It does have a 28.7 inch seat height. That seat is a little bit higher than the Harley, but it is actually a little bit lower than the Goldwing. I can put 1 foot down, but I can't put both feet flat on the ground. It does have 5.3 inch ground clearance, same as the 900, which is not really a problem. The 5.3 gallon fuel tank, it does require at least 90 octane fuel, so it does cost a little bit more on the fuel. Overall, it's been a great bike. I'm looking forward to taking some long trips this spring and summer, because I know it's going to be a comfortable ride.